Hey folks, welcome to this guide that's going to teach you how to beat Itsumade. First things first, this enemy is tough, super tough. Many players feel that Itsumade is basically a boss, and I can totally understand that. It's very complex and requires you to pay attention almost all the time while you are keeping up the pressure. And if you do not, as you're about to see momentarily, Itsumade will quite literally break you in half. So let's get started. To get started, Itsumade explodes yokai realms local to him after some attacks. Other times, he can detonate all available yokai realms. It's crazy. To prevent these explosions, make sure you get in the habit of purifying the yokai realms right away. Aside from preventing some great key recovery from an already tanky enemy, some of these attack chains do leave openings when you purify the yokai realm. This is also one of the very few times Itsumade is vulnerable. Save your stagger based abilities for after this downtime expires to maximize punish time. The first burst attack is a dive that can spawn yokai realms in the dark realm. And yes, you can explode the yokai realms afterwards. You can safely counter this using either the feral or phantom counters. The second burst attack summons a barrage of yokai realms. With so many yokai realms around, which again you want to purify, he is bound to explode all of them. It is crazy and can potentially one-shot you altogether. To prevent this, use the brute burst counter. Itsumade performs attacks that can punish you for relying upon dodging backwards. Make a habit of dodging to the side to avoid all sorts of attacks. Itsumade's chest is his weak spot. If you can hit it while it is glowing, you will stagger him and inflict a ton of key damage. After it's hit, notice that his chest no longer glows, it's dark. This means you cannot hit it again for some time. In total, there are 3 attacks in which you can break his weak spot. The second attack is his grab, which is crazy to try to punish. Last but not least, the third attack that you can punish potentially is when he detonates all yokai realms. Notice that his chest is still dark, and will be, despite the fact that these attacks are things that you can punish. So you really need to pay attention the entire time. Even with his weak spot available, you cannot afford to stop paying attention. Now what you must do, in my opinion, is capitalize on the fact that you have punished his ki dramatically and go for as much ki depletion as possible and get that grapple to really help you reset things. Also of note, when you do grapple him, he does have a wake up attack as you're about to see. Now let's get on to the trickiest part of Itsumade. Itsumade has a ton of mix-ups. This is what, in my opinion, makes him super difficult. He can add, say, extra claw swipes to his combo chains. He can sweep and then stab with his tail. And sure, you might be able to react to these, but truth be told, it can be very difficult to plan around. So you must pay attention for those windows of opportunity to punish him. Get in the habit of purifying yokai realms. When you mix this in with crazy range, high movement, crazy enough speed, it is super deadly. Itsumade basically never ever stops the pressure, and sure, there are some attack strings where he will stop, but for the most part, it's a good idea to dodge these attacks and search for that key moments in which he stops and chants his own name like a Pokemon. Otherwise, you are in for a very, very bad time. There are attack strings in which he will pause for sure, such as after the 4-claw swipe and then he slams the ground. Other attacks featuring this pause include when he dive bombs across the map, and then sometimes he feels like he does it almost randomly. So you really need to be on the lookout for this as you're staying in the fight and not getting intimidated by his menacing presence. He is a colossal nightmare, but I can promise you, as you practice, you will triumph. In any case, let's get on to my sample fight. Alright, it's time for the sample fight. So you guys remember Paul, the Raven Tengu? Yeah, this is his dad, Sir Paulington, and he's not too pleased about the last guide. So this game plan is just going to be this. Dodge to the side, any window of opportunity that I have, I'm going to squeeze an attack in, whether it's just an active skill, normal hits, or a yokai ability. On top of that, I need to make sure to purify yokai realms so that he can't use them against me. This is critical. And of course, Looking for punish windows, as you can see here, to inflict key damage, throw in yokai ability of my own. I chose Itsumade to be thematic. And yeah, I need to keep the rhythm and the momentum in my favor. And of course, get that sweet grapple. And if you're on higher difficulties, you want to get that grapple to prevent the curse from being there in the first place. So it's very tricky. I lose a little momentum here, and so I'm trying to regain it, and so I use some soul cores, but it wasn't necessarily the best decision at the time because he's keeping my ki quite low. So I'm just trying to regain that momentum, keeping the pressure going as soon as I can. I use my stagger ability after that punish window normally expires so I can effectively extend it. Here I was not able to purify the yokai realm successfully. I also wanted to get that glowing spot, but I just wasn't confident enough to do so. So I use other things at range instead. So really got to plan these battle strategies almost in the moment. But now that his ki is pretty low, I was hoping to use the proper counter, but I had switched. But not to worry, I went into yokai shift. And then now I'm gonna go for the coolest finisher that I can to show this big bird who's boss. Who's the boss? I'm the boss. Nice. In any case, I hope this guide helps you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.